Alright, all you JK guys, we've got a new project for the Pitbull Jeep. We're going to be installing a Watts link on the back. This is going to replace a track bar. We're going to replace this track bar because of the inherent movement or the arc that the track bar does as the suspension articulates. With this Watts link, it's going to allow the suspension to travel up and down and stay centered underneath the vehicle. It's going to help not put load on the suspension and tires and bearings and so on. It's made by Full Traction. The kit's very complete. All powder coated, nice high ends on all the rods. It's a really nice kit for everything that I've seen, and all the parts are actually included, which is a plus these days because it seems to be that trend out there with parts that are being shipped out. So we're going to take you through this step-by-step installation and show you how easy and how great this thing goes on. You could do this at the shop, no problem. We're going to show you here in a driveway just to show you how easy it is. We don't even have a lift or anything. We're using our simple tools. Probably the most power tool we're going to use is a Sawzall, maybe an electric impact. Aside from that, we're going to do this little project right here in the garage. Okay, so our first step, we've secured the vehicle, supported it with a jack stand. We've removed the driver's side rear wheel just to give us some access. We're going to be drilling 3 holes here in the frame. This is going to be for the upper Watts link bracket. We're on the passenger side. We're going to use the factory bracket for the track bar, the upper bracket that's already on the frame. So this is really the only other bracket that we're going to be installing on the vehicle aside from the Watts link on the differential itself. So our first step, remove the wheel, gain access. We're going to remove this speed sensor, ABS electric sensor line. And then we're going to remove the factory track bar in preparation for installing the bracket. All right, for the next step, this is when that trusty dusty Sawzall of yours is going to come in handy. You need to actually remove this exhaust hanger off of the frame. To do so, what I found is the easiest way is just get a long blade, 6-inch blade, and come along the frame right at the hanger itself, and it'll literally cut it right off of the frame. Leave it nice and clean. You won't have to do a lot of prep to clean up, what you've actually cut off. After you've installed one of the supplied 3 bushings, this is going to prevent that frame from crushing in on itself. We're going to drill the outer 3 holes. One already existed to 3/4 inch. The other 2, this one was a hole that was already there, and that was used to hold the ABS electric line. And then this one was one that I marked when I put the bracket up. So once you cut that exhaust hanger bracket off, then you can now slide this bracket up. Use that existing bolt hole for a locator for your bracket, and then use the existing holes there as a template so you can drill your starter drill hole initially. Then remove the bracket. The outer holes are going to be drilled to 3/4 inch. That's so your sleeves can then be pressed in or tapped in, and the holes on the inside of the frame are only going to be 9/16. All right, so once you've put your bracket up and you've drilled your 2 pilot holes, I went all the way through the frame, so that'll give me my pilot holes on the other side as well. Then I'll come back through here. The easiest way I've seen to do this is use a good old step bit, 3/4 inch step bit, and just drill it in and keep stepping away, and it makes quick waste to this frame so you can put these parts on. All right, now we're going to install the actual Watts link itself. This is the cradle that goes on the top of the axle housing. Most Watts links are located here at the back part of the housing. Well, because it's a Jeep and we have some serious articulation with this vehicle, they actually rotate it and they put it up on top. So we're going to install it on the diff. It'll have 2 U-bolts that's going to come up from the underside, and then the diff cover reinforcement skid assembly that they include with it will then tie into this and make it a nice sound assembly. Now we're at the part that we're going to put the cradle assembly on. Unfortunately, this kit won't work with any aftermarket rear end covers that are popular out there. So you have to run a stock rear cover. So I took the liberty yesterday of taking the other one off and putting a stock one back on it, resealing it, and putting the same bolts that we're going to reuse on this. So right now I'm going to remove the rear end cover bolts, install this cradle with a built-in skid and everything, and then tie it all in to the upper Watts link with the 4 3/8 bolts that will then bolt in and tie it in with the top, 2 on each side, and really reinforce it and tie this all together and give it that rigidity and that strength that it needs. Once you've put the cradle in, if you have any type of lift kit on it, you probably have a track bar relocation bracket in the back, which we did. So that needs to be fully removed before you go and start bolting all this down. So leave everything finger loose until you get the cover on. Once you put that on, tighten that down, and then install the 2 bolts on each side of it, tying it together. Once you have those 2 tight, then go back and tighten up your 2 U-bolts, and that will make your assembly all come together. Next, we're going to put on the 2 bars that go from the this top of this Watts link. One goes to the factory frame mount from the track bar, and the other one goes to that mount that we installed on the frame earlier with those 3 bolts. When you're installing these new WattLink bars, the outside ones use a 9/16 bolts. The inside one on the Watts link actually uses a 1/2 inch bolt. So there's different size alignment spacers that comes with the kit. So make sure that you use the one with the smaller inside diameter on the inside ones, and the ones with the larger ones on the outside on the 9/16 bolts. So we finished the install. To some of the tips to help you along, you're going to need a ratchet strap to ratchet and center the rear end underneath the vehicle. So once you center it, then assemble your bars. Use some anti-seize on the threads of the rod ends before you put them in the bars. You'll thank me later for it. Make the bars equal length. Kind of center this and install it. We're going to flex it out tomorrow on one of the ramps and make sure everything is clear, as you should do every time you do any suspension work, and look for the improvements. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.